One of the things I love about Montclair is that we've got people from all over the world. In my experience, there's no better way to get to know someone than eating the food that brings them home. So let's cook up special dishes with the people that make up the fabric of our campus.
Cooking with Koppell, intro, Annabelle, take one.
My name is Anabella Poland, and I'm the general manager on the campus radio station here at Montclair State University. And today I'm going to teach President Koppell how to make true, authentic Argentinian empanadas. I chose to cook empanadas with President Koppell because it reminds me of my childhood growing up in a beach town in Argentina with a grandmother who had 17 grandchildren to feed, 8 children of her own, so it was a big, big feast. So at age 22, I came to the United States and I ended up earning a diversity lottery for visas that allow me to be a permanent resident. So I ended up going to school here in the United States. I ended up going to SiriusXM, where I was Director of Talent and Industry Relations for 8 years. And it was then that someone said, you know, Montclair is looking for a general manager. So I interviewed and got my position as general manager in 2015. Making empanadas is easy, and I thought it would be really nice to share a little bit of that with President Koppell. I can't wait to taste how this turns out.
We're here for another fantastic episode of Cooking with Koppell. Our guest, as you heard, is Anabella Poland, the impresario of WMSC, a fantastic experienced journalist, but today, chef extraordinaire.
Yes.
So Annabella, what are we going to be making today?
We're gonna make empanadas from Argentina, which is traditional beef empanadas. There's many fillings that you can put in.
If it's Argentina, I know
there's
there's meat involved.
Yeah,
I know that.
So we're going to saute some onions and put the meat in, and we're just gonna cook it and then close them.
All right, let's get started.
So we're gonna put a little bit of oil, and that's gonna be so that we can saute our onions. Some onions. Let that.
So, did you grow up in Argentina? Is this like home cooking?
I actually was born and raised in Argentina.
Yeah.
I lived there for 22 years of my life. My family is all still in Argentina, so we visit often. And this is a typical dish you do on a Saturday night. It's like finger food. You eat it with your hands. And Grandma used to make this for about 80 to 100 people.
That's a lot of
Now, like on average, they will eat 2, 3. Some people 6, 10. So that's a lot of empanadas.
Right.
That was a true labor of love, and that's how she expressed it.
Did you all do it together? Was it or was it like Grandma makes this?
Grandma makes this.
Nobody else.
No one mess it up, right? So she would make all of them, and I would help close it, and you know. So let's put some onion on. We're gonna saute this, right? We want them to be a little bit transparent, right? Yeah, so she would make this by herself because it was important that it was the right taste. She cooked as a way of showing love to the family, not only empanadas, but like pasta.
That cross-culturally is a thing. Food is love.
Food is love,
That is a universal, right?
Yes.
It's interesting.
And she would make all kinds of things. Like she had a fig tree, so she would make fig jam, right? But empanadas were particularly difficult for that many people. And I remember when I was a teen, I would be like, I want empanadas, and she would cook a whole batch just for me. And I would have one, and I was like, I had enough. And you had to eat a lot to show that you love back.
Exactly. That's how you show love.
Exactly. You're like, I love it, Grandma. I'm having seconds and third, right? All right, so we're now going to
what's next?
Implement our beef. So you want to put this in and mix it in with your onion. We're going to put in the beef. And what you want to do is really make sure that the onion is in there. All right, so now that we have this here, what we want to do is get a little bit of our spices.
Okay.
And I do this to taste, to be honest.
Yeah, that's how I cook too.
Yeah. So I'm going to get a little bit of salt. I do love cumin. Pepper to taste.
This is cumin.
We have some paprika.
My feeling with spices is just do more than you think.
Yes.
People never put enough in.
So, and then this is beef bouillon. I never seen it in this form.
That's
I
what
know,
that is?
it looks like something that came out of a volcano, but this is what
That's
this...
beef bouillon?
Yes.
I've never seen that.
Well, that's probably because we're not real chefs.
Maybe.
I cook for my family, much like my grandma did, to show my love, and my in-laws really love these empanadas, and for their birthdays, that's all they ask me to cook.
So when you are making empanadas for your family,
Yes.
you feel your grandma at that moment?
Yeah, very much so. Anytime I'm cooking, anytime I'm thinking of like a dish that I would find her eating, I think of her, right?
Yeah.
When I smell roses, I think of her. My grandma was like not someone who would say that she loved people. I think that's a very sort of old traditional Italian kind of mindset.
Yeah.
So the next two ingredients that we have are chopped eggs.
Chopped eggs.
Chopped
I didn't
eggs.
see that one coming.
I know, eggs in America are a breakfast food. In other countries, it's a true lunch and dinner food. But the key ingredient, which is green olives chopped
Okay.
up, this is the last thing we put. They don't
Yeah.
need to be cooked, it's just heated up. Because now we have this cooked. So what you want to do, in a flat surface,
Yeah.
you want to put a little bit of the filling right in the middle of your empanada, right? Right about here. And how much or how little depends on how daring you are. Because closing this will be fun.
So by the way, almost everywhere in the world, people make dough, and they make whatever you want to call it, dumplings or empanadas.
Yes.
It's interesting. Like that's
So
just
there is a version of empanadas that gets steam and pan fried.
Everywhere in the world, somebody figures out a way. Somebody has the same idea. Like we could
You can just do
put
this.
stuff in a thing.
Yeah. So then the water is, you're gonna grab your finger,
Right.
a little bit of water, and you're gonna sort of put that in on the border because you need to close it. Normally I use like a little cutting board for this.
Right. Okay, I gotta tell you that mine looks better than yours. I'm sorry. Like,
What
no,
we
but I
have-
think we can objectively say mine
Yes.
looks better. Well, yours has
Well,
got a
I'm
little
like-
twisty things. There it is. The world's first empanadasaurus.
Oh, Grandma Adelina would be so proud. You know what she would be proud about?
Yeah.
That the little ones would eat it.
They would
Because I
totally.
cannot tell you how many dishes she cooked for my kid when
Yeah.
she was 10 months old, and she was really upset until she did chicken with rice, arroz con
Right.
pollo.
Yeah.
And my kid had like 5 little dishes, and she was so absolutely happy. I thought my kid
We
was...
could have been a team. All she needed was empanadasaurus.
So now we're going to bake
Okay.
that, right? We're gonna put it in the oven
Yeah.
for about 20 minutes until the dough gets golden.
Okay.
Obviously, the inside of the empanada is cooked. You want the dough to be cooked as well.
Okay, that sounds great. Let's eat. All right, so here we are, the product of our labors. Very exciting, golden brown.
Yes.
Yum.
The egg wash works.
All right.
This is supposed to be a finger food, so I
Okay.
would say it's appropriate for you to do this.
Okay,
Wrap it. It's very flaky, so
Okay.
it's gonna be a little bit messy,
got it.
right? And then you just bite into it, right?
So I want to ask you about something you said when we were cooking. So tell me your grandmother's story about being an Italian in Argentina.
Right, so in the early 1900s, there was a
Mm-hmm.
huge migration that either, and
I'm gonna eat while you do that.
that's fine, went to Argentina or the US. So her two parents were from Italy. They settled in a small town by the beach, and she grew up there. But that's on my mom's side. On my dad's side, I'm Swiss
Okay.
and Irish and Basque French.
Okay.
So it's a true mutt.
So a real mix. Is there any of this that's Italian influenced? I mean, you told me about your grandmother teaching your husband to make pasta.
Mm-hmm.
But does any of that show up in the things that are classically Argentinian, like that
Yes,
are cultural
so-
fusion in a way?
Totally. So even the way that we speak, right? So when you hear an Argentine speak Spanish,
Yeah.
you're gonna hear an Italian accent to that Spanish. We don't sound a typical Spanish language. We have a lot of Spanish people, a lot of Italian people. My family happens to be heavier on the Italian side.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how does our students get the benefit of you leading WMSC, right? So what made you decide to come back to the university? You had this really successful career in journalism and radio, and now you're here. How was that the next chapter for you?
Okay, so when I was at Sirius, which was for about 8 years, I launched 135 channels. I brought everybody that I wanted to talk to, any person that you think of, we brought it in to do concerts and interviews. And I had done that. And there was no more learning in that aspect. And I did love working with our interns because they were learning. And I thought, how great would it be if I can go and teach everything I learned to students? But more importantly, how inspirational might it be that a 22-year-old girl from Argentina came in and her Rolodex have all these names, right? And how can those contacts benefit the ability to put visibility on the station, right? And so this opportunity came up and I thought, this is it. This is, I really do believe the universe speaks to us.
Yeah.
I saw the opportunity to do this, and our students get to interview a lot of big names. They get to go to a lot of festivals. They get to go to film festivals. And not every university radio station is doing that.
I mean, I've heard from one of your guest DJs, Dr. K.
Yeah.
He's a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We're close, right?
we're close.
Yeah.
And he has told me how impressed he is
Oh.
with the students, but not just with them, but with the opportunities they have, and with, quite frankly, the joy and fun they have.
It's
a
fun.
spectacular thing. A really good example of what is accomplished when students have the opportunity to learn by doing and engage in the professional world.
And I still do, right? Regular media. I'm still a foreign correspondent for Argentine radio and television. So I still can tell them how they can themselves start that up. Because I did that in my sophomore year of my bachelor's degree. The former president of Argentina was coming to Fordham.
Yeah.
He was sort of a questionable figure, and I was a newspaper girl because at WFUV did not have a lot of students, so I was writing for the paper. And I called the biggest radio station, the biggest newspaper, the biggest TV station, and I said, hey, I'm gonna cover this. And the radio station got back to me and they said, if anything goes wrong, please call us. And that day, everything that could go wrong did go wrong for President Menem. A number of protesters snuck into the law school amphitheater, and I was recording from every microphone. And this is how long ago this was, because I had to put the tape, the actual cassette tape, on the phone, and I was on air for 14 hours.
Wow.
And out of that, I became a USA correspondent for a radio station, and I've done that for 22 years.
It's a great example of, you take a little bit of initiative and, oh my God.
There it shows up, yeah.
Look at all the doors that open from that.
Exactly.
This is great empanadas. Thank you for sharing the stories. Particularly, it was great to learn about your grandmother and connect with you on this food. Fantastic opportunity.
Thank you. And fun fact, we call this dough disc,
Yeah.
and the vinyl is called disc. So there's a connection to radio. It all comes together.
Connects.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching a fantastic episode. Delicious food as always, and look forward to catching you on our next edition.